Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. We are going to be continuing our Apollo Justice Eastern Trilogy playthrough today. But before we do, let's check in with the kitties. You have, we got a triple on that. We have Sherbet and Mason together, and then Sammy. There was briefly four, actually. Sky was laying there with Sammy. Oh, again? Any better now? I had it fixed already. Um, Camera should be okay. I don't have the other camera set up yet. I've still got to test some stuff, and I've also got to figure out how I'm going to run the Ethernet cable all the way around the place. So we'll see how that does. But yeah. Hey there, Rune. Hey there. But he's showing up just in time. Let me see here. We've got. I know Kebo said hi early. We're also joined by Heinz and Katz and Tass and Rune now. Yeah, let's get right into it here. Again, feel free to chat, folks. This is a very narrative game, so there's plenty of time for that. So last time we had just visited um, prosecutor Gavin here in his office. And amongst the things like the burned guitar, there is a conspicuous, like, strange looking rock or something like that. So let's see what we've got. Hmm. Audio not coming through. That would be unfortunate. Let me poke some stuff here. Very weird. Yeah, audio capture isn't coming through. Let me see if I can figure out what went wrong with that. I did change my capture card, so that might be some of it. Oh yeah, that's the problem. Silly me. It's still not working. Might have to check this properly switching here. Poke poke. Nope. Technical difficulties. We're getting our scuff out of the way early, it would seem. Okay. think I know another thing that might be going on here. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Reset that. Still no. I have 5 cats, Heinz. You can see. Actually, you can see all of them right now. Ember by herself, Sammy, Mason, and Sherbet there on the bed, and then Sky's in the upper right corner of the play area. That's functional there. Sure. Ah. Live sound debugging here. Wait a minute. Would that be A3? Let's try this again. So, for those just joining us, we are doing some super exciting OBS repair here. You know, as you do. Box virtual cable. How about now? Oh, no. We're going to get some duplicate there. Okay, still tricky. Uh-oh. So, yeah, one of the input devices isn't present, so I might have to dodge around it, which is weird. Hey there, Pink Slush. Welcome. We are going to be doing some Ace Attorney, but the sound is borked right now, and I'm trying to fix it. Oh, dear. So let's see. Let's make sure I've got my sound options set up properly. It should still be working. I am also streaming to Twitch, Heinz. There are 2 YouTube streams, one in widescreen format and one in kind of tall phone format. And the widescreen is also mirrored to Twitch. Okay, so part of our problem is that we're not piping audio through the capture card like normal. This is weird. It shouldn't do that. That. I mean, questions are fine until the game starts working again. This is a chat. Until the audio starts working properly, this is a chat stream. About. Okay, this will be weird, but maybe. Aha! Okay. So, I actually have the capture card set up in serial this time because my capture card can handle better graphical fidelity. Hey there, Elliot. But what that means is, as far as my computer is concerned, the main, like, gaming PC, the capture card is the monitor. So I have to route the sound for the desktop through the capture card. By telling it that it's going to the monitor. So yeah. Okay, it working now. It working now. Definitely, forever, permanently. But how are we doing, folks? Sorry about the delay. Okay, we'd asked about the case. So now on to, this is the song where his guitar was burnt up unintentionally. That is generally the case, Rune. So far during the investigation, one of the things that we found out, or that we saw, was we know that her brooch was in the dressing room before the murder. But the assertion is that the murder happened during, or like, I'm sorry, after the events of what was on stage, or at least during it. But the timing is weird because during the song, we can see that the timing is screwy. Because during the song, during the events where his guitar was burned, there is a stage trick where she goes from one side of the arena to the other. The fake of her, I presume it's a fake of her, but when she's on the one side, she has her brooch on, and when she arrives at the other, she doesn't. So, my thought is that the timeline is screwy. That the shooting actually occurred during the concert instead of after. Because after, that's when, they rush in, he's still there. But the timing is still screwy. No, Heinz. I will answer character lore related questions, but no role play or anything like that. Let's see. Really love that song. It has such a great atmosphere. She's talking about the song that they did. The special song they did for the concert. You co-wrote it with Lamorar, if I remember correctly. That's right, it was last year. I had gone to tour Borginia's legal system, as a matter of fact. Again, that could be a learning as a prosecutor, but probably more the band is very law enforcement themed, so the idea of touring it sounds as much like the band was out there. And sorry I missed that. Kebo, you say you play guitar? That's when you heard Lamoror's voice. Oh, odd. I just noticed a button. There's a button I had not seen before. It was at a small jazz club. I wept that night. I knew I had to meet her, to talk with her. So I used my influence, which is not inconsiderable, to arrange a meeting. Abusing your power. A Phoenix Wright prosecution standard technique. Prosecutors really have a lot of clout. I think he's sort of a special case, Druzy. Thankfully, she liked the work I did, and we wrote a song right there, backstage. It is pretty much their only technique, Tass. I mean, aside from violence, and yeah, I think it would fall under influence, given their ability to completely manipulate the judge. Maki on piano, that dulcet voice, and myself on a guitar that I borrowed from Lamorar. And music history was made. Probably not an experience your average lawyer would ever have. Like Apollo, say. Needless dig, needless dig. Is a memory I hold dear, and the song we wrote that night was this. And that very guitar is right over there. The remnants thereof, at least. You mean this charred lump? Yep. Don't call it a lump, that's a piece of history. And it's only browned, not really charred. Lightly toasted. You know. You get it just right, and you put some chocolate on it and sandwich it with a graham cracker. It's a musical s'more. Might sit this one out, huh, Rune? Well, no worries. Thanks for swinging by. Life being life there, Rune. See you later. No matter, I shall never sing that song again. I wouldn't have used the guitar again either, even if I could have. What happened during that song anyway? Well, we know that there was a radio-controlled kind of ignition switch, seemed like a little butane lighter with a transceiver on it. Hey there, Smiley. Why did his guitar suddenly catch on fire? We also know that the trigger for it was found in Maki's piano, and it was probably after the show that it went there because it messed with the sound of the piano. Essentially, it was probably holding down some of the chords. You think you could show it to us? Your charred, slightly burnt guitar? I'm sure he doesn't mind. What more could happen to it? It was a beautiful instrument. It was played lovingly for many years. A guitar befitting a woman like Lamoureux. How did it end up here? Yep. If I recall, though, he set it down and lit it on fire and was all dramatic about it. In the case of Prosecutor Gavin, his guitar lit on fire while he was playing it, and panic ensued. At least on his part, the production continued. Everybody was being very professional while he was immolated. As you do. How did it end up here? She gave it to me. I mentioned how much I enjoyed playing it that night, and she made a present of it. So this guitar is from Borginia? That it is. We couldn't carry it on a plane. Changes in air pressure and humidity ruined the wood. So we vacuum packed it and hid in Lamoureux's studio. Hey there, Nuclear. Welcome. Nuclear. Used a special shipping service available to me for transporting evidence. Once again. Prosecutor Gavin abusing his power. It's supposed to be for shipping special evidence and, fragile stuff, but I also sometimes use it for shipping my own things so that I can, not spend the money. They brought it right up to my office for me. Pristine and untouched. This is Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy. It is the second trilogy of Ace Attorney games released on Steam. Which is a Steam port of the games that were ported to things like iOS, which are remasters of the original DS and 3DS games. And earlier, but... If you've ever seen memes of a guy in a blue suit with spiky hair, or a guy in a maroon suit with gray hair shouting things like objection at each other and similar, that's these games. Nuclear. Nuclear, it is, I have it set to minimum stream delay. It means I can't do live captions, but then again, default caption generation is spotty anyhow. We're a very chat-centric stream, so super low delay helps. See, prosecutors do have a lot of clout. I still think he's a special case. That is the default, Nuclear. that is the default. So I don't see a lot of gain to do that. The two things that you lose are closed captioning, which, I mean, that's non-trivial. It can be nice for folks to be able to have the closed captioning on live. Like I said, the translation that it'll do is not reliable sometimes, and sometimes can result in questionable things being typed. The other is you can't do 4K, but that's not a priority for me. Such a valuable guitar. Too bad it got burned. Well, we're going to look at that immediately. Nope. Just lets us look right at it. There's lightly scorched, and then there's this. It's burned clean through. Yep, pretty much a useless piece of junk. It's kind of like you after a trial, Apollo. Trucy shows no mercy. Which part, the burned clean through or the useless piece of junk? Alright, nothing special about it. Brain rot, huh, Kebo? You were saying earlier something about intriguing results from an examination of the guitar? That's right. What was that all about? Well, you know how guitars have a round hole in the front? It's called the sound hole. Welcome back, cats. What you frying? So that's what it's called. Well, they found something attached to the wood just inside the hole. A broken device of some sort. A broken device. Oh, it's another ignition switch. The examiner is busy with evidence for the case now, however, so he'll be checking this out once he's finished with everything else. That device looks strangely familiar. This was found in Mr. Latusse's bag. It's apparently a replica of something. Replica. It's a small lump, about an inch and a half long. We analyzed it, but there's not much to say other than it's a lump of plastic. Hey there, cat lover. Given your handle, you've come to the right place. You've currently got a triple visible. Perhaps it was used in the identification of whatever it is a replica of. I mean, whatever Mr. Latousse was after. That seems to be the most logical explanation. Well, what is it? Don't ask me, Frontline. Oh? The guy who's talking is the prosecutor in the case that we're working right now. He is also an international rock star of all things. He plays guitar and rides a hog. I put in a request to Interpol via my contacts in Borginia. But apparently there is a block on information somewhere along the chain. Oh? There's something either Interpol or Borginia doesn't want to share. Something about this little piece of plastic. Mr. Latouche went through all that trouble to become Lamaurora's manager. He was her manager and also supposedly her interpreter, but she didn't need an interpreter. She could speak English just fine. He was actually an Interpol agent. I have some thoughts on Sunday, but I haven't decided yet, cats. I'm thinking maybe a game. Change things up a little bit. Just to come to this country to find out more about this lump. And he died for it. Haven't decided yet, cats. I've sent someone to the Colosseum to fetch Lamauroa. Perhaps she knows something about it, being a Borginian. Sample. Sample, huh? Think they put a big enough label on it? Alright, barbed wire. Feel free to lurk. That goes for anybody. Lurking is okay. Chapter. I think we're in we're in the third trial. Hey there, Marionette. Welcome. I am Newt, player of games and coder of maybe a game sometime in the future. And there are also cats. We're playing Ace Attorney today. Maybe it's to keep people from eating it by mistake. Yeah, they might think it was an otherwise tasty multicolored lump of plastic. Best way to get into coding is to, assuming you have the time, just start. There are plenty of ways to get rolling, you know? And game dev is one where there are plenty of reasonable tutorials to get you going on any given platform. You mean my microphone? My microphone is maybe like a foot away. Tech is generally pretty straightforward. I mean, it is, if you're limited to... Yeah, you'd pretty much want like a laptop or something like that to work with. So I suspect that might be the limiting factor, though. Doesn't need to be a very powerful one. Maybe it's the manufacturer. Sample toys when you can't afford the real thing. Sounds like a company Mr. Wright would like. So we can see in the background here, this is an example of them making things like in the scene way bigger than they actually are, because this little white dealie there is 1.5 inches long. But the way they've presented it is it's got to be like, 4 or 5 inches long minimum. Will he react if we show him the other one? Has to be one of these. Red Dead Redemption 2, cats, I have played that. I did not like playing it online because, people are jerks. But it was an interesting game. What is it, Apollo? That device that you found in your guitar. Take a look at this. Yes, I did play it, Cats. Looks like the same thing. What is it? It's an igniter. Oh, it's a little, it's like a small, looks like a little butane torch or something like that. Uh, and it's connected to a radio transceiver. We also have the trigger in our inventory. I played both, Cats. Yeah, it's generally the time to do it that will slow a lot of folks down. Repeating myself a little bit, but the game was interesting. I did not like the online version. Another one? It was at the crime scene in Lammeror's dressing room. Detective Sky found it, actually. The scene of the crime? What could that mean, I wonder? I did not, Cats. Thanks, Marionette. I like it. I believe that covers everything I'm at liberty to talk to you about. Oh, thanks for dropping by, Hair Forehead. Thanks. Why, you gave me so much information. That igniter, for instance. Oh, that. Never met an attorney so forthcoming with the prosecution. It's a big help. I do not, Cats. Perhaps you're just a tad naive, I guess I could have hit it, but somehow showing it felt like the right thing. I could say the same to you, Prosecutor Gavin. Pretty much all of mine are as well. Let's show. We have the three on the bed that you've been able to see, and then once camera one gets its act together, there we go, we can see the other two. So the two together are Sky, who is laying on top of Ember, and then over on the bed there is top to bottom Mason, then Sherbet, then Sammy. Hey there, Rosa. Welcome. We were just showing the kitty cats. Previously, Cats. I played it previously. Thanks for the information. A little congested. Sky was laying with Ember across the keyboard. Across from. 5 is kind of the limit. I did briefly have 7 for a time, and that was a tad overwhelming. About the strange lump of plastic, the one that Mr. Latouche was investigating. That's right. I've been thinking, Hair Forehead. We encounter many incidents in our lives, all of us, not all of them simple. At the time, it was. Let's see. I don't recall when it was 7 precisely. Most of mine are pretty quiet a majority of the time. Sky is more of a nuisance when he wants something. No. The When I adopted them, the entire litter of them were named as uh named things that could be suffixed with cat. So it was Tomcat, Bobcat, Alley Cat, Manx Cat, and I can't remember if there was another. Each time I generally do, Monk. If for no other reason than you're the person who swings through and asks if I remember them. I adopt from shelters. In general, a street cat would need to go through the same veterinary stuff. I'm not sure what that would be, Keba. Especially not ones where people are killing to song lyrics. That's why I try to at least remain simple inside and keep a simple goal to discover the truth. People say that a lot, Marionette. People say that. I've never had that, cats. There are moments of silence in Ace Attorney. Um, Generally, I don't play my own music over it because there is pretty good music now and again. Just because dude bros lift weights to it doesn't mean it's bad music. This would amount to, I don't know in which order, but this is kind of like the fourth attorney game in the timeline. That's why I like to keep relations civil. Yeah, that is all. I can live with that. Mr. Prosecutor, Fraulein. They do like sprinkle in a couple of like German, like Eastern Europeanisms into him, as that's kind of where he's supposed to be from. Um, Not a lot in particular, cats. It's again kind of what tickles my fancy at the time. Uh, I do I do generally link them in the on the Discord in the sticky notes for them. But like Will McDaniels, he makes kind of practical effect creepy wet puppets. Um, let's see, Natrix. I really like her art, kind of the atmosphere in her art in her videos. Um, there's one particular League streamer that I like, but it's a mixed bag. I mean, League in general is a mixed bag. So I only like to watch it when there's something like the gimmick is silly or going to be amusing. Then what else? There are a couple of streams or channels that do uh like clay dioramas. North of the Border and Jack Jack Creations are two that I like. But that's a sampling. There are a couple of like news ones that I do, but that's news. Can I ask why you sing in a band? because I want women to turn and look when I walk down the street. Now, this is either a joke or the my opinion of Prosecutor Gavin is plummeting. That's pretty simple, too. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got work to do. Another time, perhaps. It's a distinct possibility, Marionette. It's when it comes to gaming, you generally experience things that are going to be interesting to you or the group around you. So if you never like try it or never have anybody around you who pushes you to try it, then you probably won't, and you're unlikely to consume media about it. All right, we're probably going to get another little bit from Maki here. Let's see if it is in any way useful. Nope. Just declaring that we won't get anything from him. It's like Maki's in questioning. The police must have a Borginian interpreter. It's no fair. I wish we could talk to him. It'd be useful to be able to talk to our client. That'd be great. Guess we'll just have to come back later if we want to see him. I guess so. The black cat there is Sammy. If you ever get to see them near each other, Sky is definitely gray and white. Sammy is fully black and white. For those that weren't here last time, in order to progress the storyline, we had to talk to Trucy at the office. This is the only time that has happened in the Ace Attorney games. Every other time, talking to the person in the office just says, hey, we should go out and investigate. WoW has become a wallet puncher, Marionette. They have really started to lean into their microtransactions. Setting aside monthly subscription kind of stuff. Not too uncommon in gaming. It's not like a gotcha game, but let's hop around and see if we bump into some story flags here. Oh, it's you. You came at a good time. Hello there, Emma. What's up? Either of you know where Lammeror is? Well, I saw her in the backstage hallway a while ago. Yeah, that's strange. What's strange? I can't find her anywhere. I was supposed to bring her to the prosecutor's office. Emma Sky's glasses, cats are red filters so that she can use her luminol spray. They are, I mean, the whole white rims and whatnot on them are, I guess, meant to be fashionable, but the lenses are that pinky red so that she can, in order to spot the effects of that spray. So, in addition to trying to make her kind of anime quirky, it's meant to be a like a tool in her profession or her would-be profession. Lammeror is missing. She was supposed to bring her to the prosecutor's office. It's hard to imagine her wandering off somewhere on her own, being that she's blind and all. Yeah, we'll help you look for her. Great, thanks. Somewhat in the defense of them, the blizzard that was in play, the blizzard that existed when WoW was released, is definitely a different animal from the blizzard of today, and I definitely agree that it has become it is very much a bleed the community kind of game now. And they have become that sort of company. Looks like the story converges on Gavin's office and then progresses out from there. This place is deserted. Wonder where Lamoror went off to. Welcome back, Rosa. I'm sure she's okay on her own. She seems resourceful. I guess, but I can't help but worry about her a little. Nothing seems to be new in the hallway. It doesn't help that Blizzard was purchased by Activision. A no flag here. Yes, exactly, Marionette. It has gone down in history with phrases like giant enemy crabs and the like. Okay. Well, the stage. We are currently looking for story flags. This happens when there's new stuff. The stage is pitch dark. The power breaker must be off for this section. Great. I'll go get someone. It's really dark out there. Dark. That's all Lamoror has when you think about it. I mean, Bethesda hasn't really made a new game since, like, Morrowind. Uh, Ember is female, Sky is male, Mason and Sherbet are male, Sammy is female. What would it be like to live in a world of darkness? Hey, Apollo. This is Trucy's serious sprite. What? Doesn't something about the stage seem different to you? Well, there's something stuffed in the guitar case. Like something's changed? Can't put my finger on it, but it's bugging me. Hey there, Ethan. Welcome, welcome. Oblivion is amongst the games that started a terrible trend of being able to pick up and mess with random objects in the world when there's no mechanical reason to do so, uh, which is a big part of the ability to break everything. But it's at least since Oblivion that they haven't changed their engine at all. I mean, they ate the company. It's Obsidian, I believe. resulting in Fallout's IP falling into their hands. That's the thought, Ethan. Let's poke it. It seems like part of Lamarar's gown, if I had to guess. Or her shawl kind of thing. That case, wasn't that opened before? I guess someone closed it. Wait, look. Where the case closes. They had made a point that, like, Trucy could fit in there. I wonder if we're going to find Lamarar in the case. Does it look like an instrument? I don't think it's... Let's open it, Apollo. Oh, yeah, she's in the case. Dun, dun, dun. We have to get Emma. Lamarar was taken directly to the hospital. Emma ran around barking orders and making phone calls. Her life is unclear, but the fact that she was taken to the hospital and that they didn't say she was dead implies that she survived it. Trucy just clung to my arm and cried. And me, I was still in shock. 2 bodies in 2 days is too many. Okay, well, if they're saying body, is she dead? Let's find out. This is the Hickfield Clinic waiting room, which, despite looking identical, is not the Hottie Clinic. I have heard that New Vegas was good, but by the time I was able to try it, it was already too buggy to play on PC. It has not kept up with technological changes to hardware and software. Now, I don't mind that subsequent Fallout games after New Vegas dropped most of the special system. The percentage skill stats didn't really do a lot. We all owe you a big thanks, that's for sure. So she's okay. Jordan, we are playing the Ace Attorney games. This is part of the Apollo Justice trilogy. Yes, she came to a short while ago. Okay, Lamarar survived. She was unconscious. We found her before it was too late. Means we found her pretty quickly after she was stuffed in there. It's good to hear. So what happened? Someone attacked her. She was struck on the forehead. Oof. By who? We don't know. But they hit her on the forehead, right? That's right in front of her. How could she not see? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got a triple, Jarn. Sure, my streaming stats are active so I can see if it goes haywire. Is that all right? She wants to thank you for saving her life. Lamarar. Yeah. Fallout 4 has a lot of questionable decisions made in it. Largely because there are a lot of systems that they didn't follow through with. Hello, Colin. Ah, Mr. Attorney, you were the one who found me? Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm just glad you're okay. Tell me, what happened? So this is either further pointing the finger towards let me see, can we find that person? Darian here. It's either further implicating him or this is a misdirect. Fallout 76 was a weird choice. That was already in the period where MMOs were falling out of vogue. And to take that property and try to make it into an MMO when it was... It's difficult. I think it would be difficult to make Fallout an MMO. Largely because it's a game about wandering the apocalypse. It's as much about you being from your perspective through the fourth wall, watching this version of the apocalypse and how it is, let alone that you're often playing a fish out of water. That's something that I liked about 4 that they did not follow through on. They did not follow through on it at all, is that you were a complete fish out of water. You were cryogenically frozen, except for one moment the whole time between the nukes are dropping and society has largely collapsed. They had a great opportunity for that, and they didn't follow through. And I think piling a bunch of players all together would go further down that road. You're no longer that one person, either like Fallout 1, a tribe derived from a vault, or just in general somebody coming out of a vault into a different world. You lose that. And then I also don't trust the company not to botch it, because, you know, they don't have a good track record for that. It was after I spoke with you in front of the dressing room. I sensed someone approaching. I thought it might be someone coming to see me, but they said nothing. When I went to return to my dressing room, you were hit? I knew that very moment. I knew. The assailant was trying to kill me. No. It was lucky for me that the first blow did not knock me out. I turned and ran for the stage. Someone was chasing me. I could hear footsteps. Yet I reached the stage first. Why the stage? I had overheard maintenance people talking. The power to the stage area was off, they said, for electrical work. Ah. Darkness is my ally. There was a contrabass case near the stage. That's where I hid. Okay, so... it's tricky, because the idea that she willingly hid there doesn't help push suspicion away from this being a misdirect. Batman would be kind of interesting. Like, a Batman-like character would be interesting if it was a strange fortune teller lady in a you know, in the appropriate regalia instead of, you know, costume guy. But generally, Marionette, post-apocalypse stories are usually not about the immediate following of the apocalypse, but they're more about... they tend to be people stories about the situation. So if, like, you're still running from zombies as they're actively tearing apart civilization, then it's like an apocalypse story. But post-apocalypses are either the society that has resulted or people dealing with the aftermath. So yeah, the Fallout games do take place after society is, like, in its remnant stages. You know, people are building towns, that kind of thing. But that's kind of a standard Pokeapocalypse. It is the Pokeapocalypse, the natural convergence of Pokemon stories. Once the Pokemon realize, hey, wait, we don't have to deal with these people trying to capture us and make us fight each other. Let's kill them. Yeah. I think Bethesda missed the point of the charm of the Fallout series. It's the stories that you get as the Wanderer, you know? You come in, you encounter the stories of the location, as opposed to it being kind of a standard RPG rampage around in quest. That can be fun in its own right, but it's not like Fallout, you know? There's shades of it, there's specters of it, but I don't think they've got it. So the assailant couldn't see you. Once in the case, I'm afraid I passed out. Sounds like a really close call. Do you have any idea who it might have been? Unfortunately, no. Whoever it was, they said not a word. Too bad. Yet when I consider that I was struck high on the forehead, I must conclude that whoever hit me was taller than I am. Doesn't help. Good point. She's sharp. You're much taller than I am. You're about as tall as Apollo. That means it was likely an adult and probably a man. Could it be him? Well, why would anyone attack you, Lammeror? The detective asked me this too, and to her I gave the same answer I give you. I do not know. Here, blind person, look at this. Oh, I'm sorry. Jordan, we are playing as a character, Apollo Justice. They are, as written as of this game, they are meant to be the successor of Phoenix Wright. I believe the narrative of this character and how that plays out is really fuzzy. Because they don't really... Their writers couldn't make up their mind. We'll see that in the subsequent games. Do you know what this is? This thing that I'm holding in front of you, blind person? Yeah, I think that last part, Marionette, is the key element, is the character has an interesting hook and a strong motivation. Like, again, complete fish out of water. There's not been, like... They haven't adapted to the environment. They're not like a tribal, like in was that Fallout 2, I think, that was the tribal character? I can't remember. But anyway, they're not somebody from a society that grew out of a vault. They are somebody that, like, their last memories are the bombs dropping prior society, coming briefly out of cryo to see their son kidnapped and their wife killed, and then coming out of cryo after the destruction. Like, some time after destruction. So that was an amazing character hook. You could have, without the stolen son, that could have been an amazing story, because this is somebody that is completely out of their element. Could have been cool. Didn't do that. You had the story of the child, and that should have been a strong motivation for the character. Everybody you encounter, you think that the person would be very, like, do you know somebody that might have done this? Have you seen this? That kind of thing. But no. They also grafted on systems that really weren't fleshed out. The settlement building was like, it didn't have a lot of point, let's say. You could do things with it. There was breadth to it, there was depth to it, but it was also largely irrelevant. And the stories weren't fantastic. There were some that were neat, but pretty loose. This is what Mr. Latouche was carrying it. It's a replica of the thing he was after. He was after? You know, in his secret identity. The series has a following, Jorn. The Ace Attorney series has a following, but I wouldn't call it popular in the sense of, like, it is the game du jour on YouTube, you know? Yep, unrealized potential, Marina. Paired with the fact that Bethesda has one game engine and that's all they want to use. As I mentioned, hey, I can pick up any random object in the scenery, even though its only purpose was to be scenery. Resulting in all of the physics bugs. So that's what he was doing. You mean, you know what? Yes, I know, of course. This must be a Borginian cocoon. Looks like Mason wandered off. Is he visible? Let's find out. There's Sky and Ember. Switch the camera over to them for now. He slipped away. Now, he could be up and right from the camera that he was previously at. He likes to lay against the bed pillows. He could have slipped under the bed. He does like to be down there. Otherwise, I don't know where he might be. Or rather, a convincing replica thereof. Why haven't I heard of a Borginian cocoon before? Is this meant to be like a silkworm kind of scenario? Why would he be carrying this around? Was it some kind of souvenir? I wonder. Well, they call it Borginian. Just a moment here. Adjusting chair. There we go. Must only be found in Borginia. For certain, all in Borginia know of these. It's a cocoon. Do you get do you get silk from it? Sky will essentially use Ember as a pillow. She will only tolerate that from him. Earlier, he was trying to do similar with Sammy, and you could see that she kind of turned to face him, and in cat body language, none of that, and he backed off. There are 5 cats, Jordan. Do not know the details, I'm sorry to say. Thought she said all in Borginia knew of these. There is one fact I do know about the cocoon, though. Something all in Borginia know. Was that the cocoons, they are not to be taken out of the country. If someone does and is caught, they will be put to death. To death? Said in the way of ghost. But why? Not really, Jordan. Not really. Sky doesn't shed a lot, and the rest are short hair, so there is a lot of cat hair around, but not really a lot. Though my point of view might be skewed because I did have a pair of Maine Coons, and Maine Coon hair it's a completely different scenario dealing with Maine Coon hair. The best way I could describe its effect on the environment is cobwebs and tumbleweeds. It's hard to say, Marionette. It depends on how much of his influence drives everything to be just crank out another thing in the same engine. Yeah. Or if it's a systemic problem at the company. No, yeah, if Interpol was involved, I'm sure there's a good reason. This is just a piece of plastic. He was carrying a replica, but looking for the real deal. That's my best guess. So, that's what he was up to? Tracking down Borginian cocoon smuggling. It seems I was marked. Marked? Life changed for me when with the popularity of my songs. Yep, it's from a corporate board or shareholder perspective, it might still be expedient, or in their mind, in the best interest of the company to keep cranking out games like that. But I suspect, Starfield was a bit of a slap in the face to the company. That did not go over well, and they are not handling it well. It's another, it wasn't a terrible game, but with the amount of expense that they put into it, you'd want more than a inoffensive game. I began to travel around the world. So you could have brought those Borginian cocoons with you. On my trips, yes. That was probably the suspicion. And Mr. Latouche was placed as an undercover agent looking into it. I wonder how long it'll take, Marionette, before we do see another Skyrim Special Edition. Or did that already happen? Did they panic release the, Super Gold Platinum version 2 Special Edition of Skyrim? Virginia is a small, sheltered country. Not many of our people venture into the world outside. Is that why they suspected you? But Mr. Latouche wasn't a Borginian, was he? He was an Interpol agent, which means, now, Apollo, he could have been a Borginian and an Interpol agent. Ace, this is the first game in the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy, which is the second trilogy of Ace Attorney games released on Steam. It's kind of a more interactive visual novel. What, Apollo? There must be some reason why Borginia doesn't want those cocoons getting out. Hey there, Gumi. A long time no see. Well, as well as I remember time. How you been, Gumi? It might be another cost-benefit thing, Marionette. PlayStation hardware doesn't have... Well, console releases can be expensive, and given that they keep using the same engine, it might be that there's something about the PS5 that they looked at and said, maybe not. Or perhaps they're making it now. Something scary enough to get Interpol involved. Like what? How could such a tiny ball of thread cause such a commotion? Cocoon smuggling. Mr. Latouche had Lamoror marked. It couldn't be her. Huh? There's one other person I need to talk to. Thank you for talking to us, Lamoror. My voice is male presenting. The character is genderless. Is a robot. Well, more of a droid, but you know. Gavin is the current prosecutor. We are on the second investigation day, though, so we'll be getting to the next part of the trial with him. There are a lot of IRL elements that I leave a mystery there, Ace. But I have another request. If it is within my power, I need an interpreter, somebody who speaks Borginian. Apollo? Would you come with us, if you're well enough? Let's see, yes. Yes, of course, I shall accompany you. Where are we going? Come on, Trucy, we're about to get to the bottom of this. Maki, we came to talk with you about the case. Maki, could you interpret for us, Lamoror? That's probably the case. There's a lot of built-up... I mean, you would put children in detention at a school... But when you think about it, in a more general sense, detention is generally kind of held for like interrogation, semi-imprisoned, that kind of thing. Interesting use of detention when you think about it in a school sense. So I know in some schools it is effectively imprisonment. Yes. Maki, I'd like to talk about when we first met. We still thought you were blind. Wah, 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 wah. Now we know the truth. You can see, right? Or in some cases, Marionette, at least in the US, where criminals who can't afford to pay the Can't afford to pay the suspected of crime tax. Have to stay. Hey there, colorful. Welcome. Profile pic is similar. Did you change your profile name or something? It's completely fooled myself. Maki, isn't there another secret you're hiding from us? Gasp. Wait, Mr. Attorney. What do you mean by secret? I thought the profile pic was familiar. I also stream on Twitch. Right now, let's see, you are looking at the cell phone format stream on YouTube. There is a widescreen format, or at least a 16:9 format. And then the 16:9 is also on Twitch. What do you mean by secret? Well, if I'm not mistaken, you know something about this, don't you? Ember wanted to go get some food. She's over by the food dishes right now. Well, that was the shocked animation from Maki. Hey, you got a reaction. A big one. Maki, you didn't. Trucy and I are trained to see people's uncertainty. Not that we would have needed any training to see that one. Mr. Attorney, please tell me what this is all about. Lamroar, please interpret. Very well. I know you know something about this by your reaction. If you won't tell me, I might have to give it to the prosecution and have them look into it. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Yes, you wait and do not be so hasty. Maki? You know everything? Yes, everything. Well, sort of. Have him tell us about it. Very well. The gibberish symbols are because Maki doesn't speak English. That is Borginian. Hey there, Abraham. Welcome to the broadcast. We're playing some Ace Attorney. What is this cocoon, anyway? The cocoon, the silk, is a potent cure. This is the first game of the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy. I think the Twitch channel has the standard Twitch chat defenses on it for things like the account has to exist for a period of time, that kind of thing. A cure? It must cure some disease. It is a... Because it is an older game and because it already had, at this point, is... It's not, I wouldn't call it like a cult game, but it's pretty much a niche game, you know? Huh. I know somebody was having a problem with that like last week or something like that, Ace. I think it was like sending to the wrong email or something in their case, but it's a cure for it's a cure for incuritis. The silkworms feed on unobtainium, and then They spin thread from it, and we powder it so it can cure incuritis. Oh, I didn't try hard at all with that one. Cure for incuritis. I'm sitting in a situation like that, Marionette. It's why I'm adding some more gaming days to the week instead of quite as many coding days. Is I want to start pushing through some of this backlog. We have no idea what incuritis is, Ace. It is apparently a disease that is otherwise incurable. Except for Borginian cocoon silk, I guess. But if it's a cure, why keep it in Borginia like that? Money. Just think of all the lives they could save by sharing the medicine. I do not understand the reasons myself. Okay, well, at least we know what it is. A cure. And Mr. Latouche was after cocoon smugglers. Wait, was Maki... Maki, you weren't... He couldn't be a smuggler. He's so little. Well, you're only 15, and you're sort of a magician, aren't you? Well, that's true. I am sort of a magician. The gameplay elements are generally interacting with the scenes and selecting the right things to present at a given time. It's much more akin to a adventure game, if you're familiar with that genre instead. Though with less, like, banging quite as many objects together, but similar vibe. Said sort of. Oh, to have a copy of that security camera tape. I'd say Persona 5 is a little... I would contend that most of those are way more interactive. You're here officially now, huh, Gumi? Well, Maki, are you a smuggler? Wah wah. Wah wah wah. He won't tell me. First he plays blind, now he plays dumb. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he holds his ground and refuses to admit that he's guilty of what is a capital crime in the country he's from. Those are semi-random symbols. Some of them are kind of jokey references, but they're meant to imply that it's a language that Apollo and Trucy don't understand. But if you watch some of them, there's some, like one of the symbols is a little character, little stick figure doing the Hadouken animation from Street Fighter. It being a Capcom game. This is a very dramatic courtroom game. Gumi hopping over to Twitch as well. So there's a criminal justice system that is effectively a harsher and more cartoony version of the Japanese legal system. And then you kind of amp that up further with the prosecutors who can pretty much get away with anything, a relatively stupid judge, and then a lot of over-the-top animations. Do you think he brought a cocoon here to sell it to someone? Prosecutors have an insane amount of plot armor in this game, Ace, and also almost supreme power in the courtroom, except when it's narratively convenient. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Franziska von Karma is, I think, the primal example of prosecutors can get away with anything. What with the constant assault. My primary streaming location is YouTube. I actually moved here from Twitch, but I also stream on Twitch. If I had enough bandwidth, I would stream pretty much everywhere I could, because why not? Yeah. Francisco whips the judge. Godot throws coffee. At least a few witnesses have done things that effectively involve assaulting the defense. It varies a lot, Ace. We're not a huge channel. In Pickle, we are playing the Ace Attorney games. I intend to keep streaming on YouTube. Like right now, I have 2 different streams going on YouTube. Most of the folks are in the cell phone format, the tall format stream. But if you'd like to see it in a different format, there is a second YouTube stream and the Twitch stream. Watch how you'd like and where you'd like. Maki really did bring it into the country. Was he planning on making a deal for its sale? I can't go home. Well, yes, because if he is a smuggler, the law there says they'll execute him. Can't go home? Yeah. This symbol right here is a little guy doing the Hadouken animation. It's the same sort of pose that you get out of, like, Dragon Ball for Kamehameha. Are there any others that look familiar? I mean, these are scissors. But I don't see any others that are definitely references. I can't go home to Borginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Borginia is death. Right, it's punishable by death. Yeah, there are definitely 2, like, leave or frond kind of things. A couple that might be people. And yeah, if you don't see who I'm talking to in the chat that you're looking at, it might be in one of the other ones. About the case. What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latusse's death? This meeting is over. Oh. Darian. What do you mean? Visiting hours aren't over yet. There's a call for Maki from the Borginian embassy. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy, we're leaving. Oh yeah, Marionette. he has he has the most aggressive pompadour. Tarian, wait. I never liked you, either of you. Huh? We were so close. He was about to tell us. That is one of my cats, yeah. Oh, and hey there, Elite. Welcome. Let's see. We can see... Oh, we can see all 5 of them. So the one that was on camera was Sky. The big fluffy one. We have Ember, who's over on the shelf. She is the gray striped and orange-eared one. And then over on the bed, top to bottom, is Mason, Sherbet, and Sammy. I have 5 cats. And 8 cameras. Technically 9 at this point, but I'm going to use that one to replace another one. A whole new camera system I'm planning on putting in place, but the cats are not for sale. The black and white one is Sammy. She's a little tuxedo. Hey, Apollo. He didn't want us to hear what Maki had to say. Apollo! There can be only one reason why. Why is everyone ignoring me? Sorry, this is it. I know who I'm after now. I mean, they've been telegraphing that Darian is the bad guy, but we'll see. Sammy doesn't really play with any of the toys. It's primarily Sherbet and Ember that will play with stuff. Sky will play with chase toys, but like Mason, he's the kind that he's a catch and kill kind of cat. So once he's got a hold of the toy, he doesn't want to let it go, and he'll try to take it. So if it's like one of those fishing line kind of toys, he'll just grab it and hold on to it. It all happens tomorrow in court. We are going to take a short break, folks, with this save point. I will be back in a couple of minutes. And we're back. Get up, stretch, top up the beverage. Drink the beverage. Sherbet, Mason, and Sky are getting some food. They might be setting this up as the last day of trial. Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. Then there was yesterday. This meeting is over. Sorry. No. We don't need a flashback to like 5 minutes ago. I have every expectation that Darian's going to appear on the witness stand. I really want to see what his freak out animation is, because it's got to have something to do with his hair. I think I know why. Time to bring down a little justice. For those that haven't seen the prior ones, Apollo has a habit of using catchphrases that he's made up for himself in his head. So his full name is Apollo Justice. So frequently his internal monologue has things like time to bring down a little justice or it's time for justice kind of stuff. Bang. Another gunshot, perhaps? He is heard but unseen. Oh. Is this the magician in yellow that we encountered earlier? Yep. Valen Grammary. That cat is Sammy, Ace. If the shelter had the accurate information, Sammy was a barn cat until she was about 1. The first one, Sammy with 2 M's. So she was pretty feisty initially when they brought her to the shelter. She calmed down, but she can be really standoffish, but she's warming up. She's warming up a lot. Just takes time. She definitely tolerates the other cats, and she'll sit on my lap for pets. I don't know. I might have some catnip left. I don't know if Mason and Sherbet like it. The one thing that works for all of them except Sky are... You may have seen ads for them. They're like... the ones I use are churros. There was a widely advertised one that were called... The type that was called Delicables. They're essentially little, like... I think I described them in a short once as meat Go-Gurt. It's like a very thin paste of, like, meat products. And they really like it. They'll swarm for that. I can use it to lure out all of the cats at once. Except for Sky. He doesn't care. But it's not something that I can put on camera because it's kind of a battle. That end. The cameras never point at me. I exclaimed as he walked through the door, normally. You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Valent? Preposterous proposition. How could I stand to stand upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Ooh, with vanishing magic? Indeed. I'll jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning. Warning? What? A grand grammary glamour resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. A glamour, a spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. That won't work. Part of the reason that it's a bit of a battle to put it there is because of Mason, primarily Mason, and to a lesser extent Sherbet. Mason will take it. He would grab it and run. He wouldn't be able to eat all of it because none of them would know how to get the bottom of the tube, but Mason would make a valiant effort. He will bite the top of the tube and pull it all out with his teeth, and then he would probably chew up the bottom of the tube to get the rest of it. It would make an unholy mess. Mason has to be restrained to some extent to let the others get to it. And even if he's restrained, his brother Sherbet will try to step in and fill the role, if less aggressively. They're done eating. Ember has moved over to the shelf again. It does vary. Let's see. Sherbet's looking out the window. We don't know where Sky and Mason are. Well, there's Sky. He's trying to decide where to go. Miss Trucy, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell. So, Valent is dipping out of town before anybody can question him. There he goes. He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. Well, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show without one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually it involves cutting up things like people or elephants or the Eiffel Tower, anything really. So he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Lammeror's disappearing act. And Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar. I wonder what he meant by being at the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go? Excuse me, sir. Yes? The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30 a.m. How will that be relevant? Did something happen? This is a first. It was by the judge's request, some urgent personal business. But he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently he's visiting the hospital again. Yeah, several of the cats that I've had, and I've known some other cats that have a real thing for, um, like chewing on things of particular texture. Like Sky likes soft cardboard. Any cardboard will do, but he prefers soft cardboard. He likes to chew it and rip mouse-sized chunks off of it. I have no idea, Ace. Nicholas, we're playing the Ace Attorney trilogy. We're playing the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy. It is the second Ace Attorney trilogy. Very narrative game. Let's see. Ember likes tape, like packing tape. She'll pull at that and mess with it. Sammy to a similar extent. At least 10 years ago, I think. Some of the games in this one. I don't know for sure, but they're not new games. I haven't played all of them though, so. Hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Well, I believe the second or third game in this trilogy is the one that's like 10 plus years old. The Ace Attorney, the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, being the first one, is older still than that. I have a feeling it might have been a Game Boy Advance game. At the very latest early DS. Chief Justice's son. Oh, that's right. The reason that he tried to railroad this trial to a verdict. Remember yesterday morning? The judge said he had to go visit him after the trial. Incuritis syndrome, first case in country. Ah, ha, ha. This is Ace Attorney, Marshmallow. Spaghetti sounds kind of good right now, you know. I'm picky about spaghetti, though. You know, regular spaghetti noodles or angel hair is good. It's the sauce I'm picky about. I don't like tomatoes. But I'm okay with tomato sauce as long as all trace of most of the vegetables have been obliterated. So, like, you know, it's still technically tomato sauce because tomatoes were used, but they were blended so fine that you can't tell anymore. I think my favorite sauce was a type that was it was a sauce by Ragu that was tomato sauce flavored with meat. That is it is essentially a thin red paste with little meat chunks. I'm not a fan of ketchup. It's too sweet. Same way I don't like my tomato sauce sweet. I'd rather it be kind of spicy. That's why I'm picky about pizza. There are a lot of pizza chains that make it with sweet sauce. Sweet sauce can be acceptable if it's cheap enough, but, you know. Oof. I don't like ketchup. I like mustard. Article in the newspaper, if you care to read about it yourself. I wonder if what we're going to find out is that the cocoon that was smuggled was explicitly for the Chief Justice, you know? I think a lot of it goes into preparation of the vegetables for me. There are a couple that there are many that I really don't like, but, you know, depending on how you prepare it, things like green beans and broccoli. I do like carrots, even raw. Kind of tasty. Just leave the TV guide page to me. Try not to lose the page with the funnies if you can. They'd referenced this previously, is that it's TV guide and funnies are all that they know the newspaper for. Well, I appreciate it, Ace. A long time ago, we were Twitch affiliate, but we moved on. Never had venison. Never had venison. Don't think I've tried any game animals. It's not a, like, I don't want to. It's more of a, it's never come up. Well, have a good night, Kebo, and good luck. Apologies for the delay. Court is in session for the trial of... How do you say his name again? Maki Tobai. Our suspect, Fortissimo. Right, it's his trial in any case. I have a couple of mods. Assuming you mean moderators. The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honor? No, well, yes. It's just, I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. Hey, Fraggy. Things are going pretty well so far. It pains me to see him going through such a difficult time. Incuritis, was it? That article said there was no known cure. Judge, let me say, with all honesty, I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Indeed. We left off at quite the juncture yesterday. I asked Interpol about that number. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latouche. Now, pretty much the only meat products I've really had any exposure to, at least in my memory, are, your standard domesticated farm animal. Chicken, pig, cow kind of thing. Though I'm aware of alternatives that are available. Just never come up, you know? We're looking into it. It's great help. No problem. And he's out. Haven't heard of that one, Marshmallow, but if you want to put game suggestions in place, I'm more likely to notice and remember them if they're placed in the suggestion box in the Discord. Catfish I've had, Nicholas. Catfish was pretty good. Used to be a place that I had gone to that served salt and pepper catfish. It was tasty. Simple but tasty. I will try to remember to look at it, but I can't guarantee that I will remember or that it would show up on stream. We do have quite the backlog to get through. There's a lot of horror games that I picked up for last season, but never finished. So we got some of those lined up. And then we've got a bunch of like mystery law games like this. Including one where everybody is birds. This was where Lammeror said that the person that she heard in the dressing room with the victim prior to the victim being killed was Darian there, the Pompadour guy. This is a flashback. We're skipping most of this because Ace Attorney has a terrible habit of doing these flashbacks even if it was in the last, like, couple lines, like not even the last day or something like that. All right, Marshmallow, thanks for joining us. Quite a sensational ending. Who would have thought Darian would guest star in the season cliffhanger as a suspect? I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings. Darian Crescent is a member of my band, the Gavineers, which means you have a terrible conflict of interest related to a possible murder suspect. But please continue. He's also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet, after investigation, I found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason? Weren't you aware, Hair Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi. An alibi? So this is where, like I was mentioning at the beginning, the timing of the murder is questionable now. We have two things: is when it happened is thrown into doubt based on the order of events that Lammeror described, that she heard Darian talking to Latouche when she was passing through backstage, but his assertion is that he must have been on stage during that. So there's something wonky going on. And I think the time that she was passing through backstage was during the performance when the teleportation trick happened. Is she's on one side, they do a disappearing act with her, and it looks like she drops out of sight during that. And then she appears on the other side on another platform that looks like it has a trapdoor. So it does look like the go down through one, trot across the room, and climb up. Review the facts. Concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. Gavineers ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guests took center stage. Yeah, the platform they rise up on has the central hatch. Playing along with a drummer and a bassist. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the third set. Lammeror and the defendant, Maki Tobai, had left the stage at that point. And the Gaviners were already rocking. And this is where, if the event's timing is a little different, then his alibi falls apart. The only thing we have for when the death happened is that Apollo and Emma heard the shots when they were standing outside the dressing room, but they've made a big deal about the speakers in each dressing room, like repeatedly made a big deal that those speakers are there. And we also had a mini game related to a sound mixer early on in the case. So what I'm guessing is that there is a gunshot sound was played into the speakers of the dressing rooms later. In some fashion. We'll see. Shots heard by Detective Emma Skye, mind you. And Apollo, you heard them too, right? I sure did. Hey there, Frank. They have restored the bots to Helldivers. Are you interested in some of that later, Frank? I play Helldivers off stream recently. I've considered putting it on stream, but it's a game that I generally just play to relax. Furthermore, Lamorar herself witnessed the moment of the crime. Heard it. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime. And she claims to have heard Mr. Latouche and Detective Crescent talking. But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was... Precisely. Detective Crescent was on stage, getting his groove on, no less. Phrasing. Context is important. A perfect alibi. Does the defense have anything to add to this? It's true, when I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up. Let's see, Sky's on my lap. Ember is on the shelf. And let's see, I can see Mason looking out the window. I think it's Mason, it might be Sherbet. I can't see his shoulders or head. Which is the primary, easiest way to distinguish them. So I'm guessing Mason is either on or under the bed. Oh, we got a big stretch from Sammy. For those in the widescreen, let's zoom a little bit. She's all bageled up now. Appears the defense has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Darian Crescent's alibi has been acknowledged. Which means that Lamorar was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true. Very well, of course, if we disregard her testimony, then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. Keep in mind that the verdict would be entirely based on no evidence at all other than them thinking that the only way somebody could have gotten out of the room is through a vent, and Maki is small enough to fit in the vent. That's it. That's all they've got. Nothing else. If indeed there are no objections, Apollo, if he declares a verdict now, Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lamorar might have been lying to protect Maki. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait, what about yesterday in the detention center? Alright folks, thanks for joining us. If you come back, great. If not, again, thank you. Sherbet has come to join me. So I got Sky on my lap, Sherbet on my headrest here. So that's why I'm kind of tilting my head here, is that he has rolled onto my shoulders a bit. I have to use one hand for him and the other for Sky. They're getting intensive scratches. I'm getting arm fatigue. Turbot is not terribly social, but he has learned that he can get pet if he comes across my headrest, and he still feels that he has enough freedom to run for it if he's there, because he has a couple of escape vectors that aren't like him. He feels safer up there, let's put it that way. Like, he avoids crossing my lap, but he'll go across my headrest. Case? What about the case? Wants to tell us about Mr. Latusse's death. And then Darian interrupts. Aki was trying to tell us something. I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him, under oath. Or finds the defendant, or what was his name? Your Honor? No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquis or Mr. Justice. Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who, until now, has not been given a chance to speak in the court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean... Defense calls defendant Maki Tobai to the stand. What? But he doesn't speak English. It's one of those aspects of the case that it's like, well, we can't ask him what happened or anything like that because he doesn't speak our language, but we're still going to try him for murder. Now, he doesn't get to speak in his defense. We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter? I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases such as, I love you, and where's the toilet? That is a very specific subset of phrases to call out. Like, that those are the immediate phrases that you think of that you would need when speaking as what amounts to a tourist in that country. I feel like he might have a particular motive, especially given that his reasoning for being a rock star was to get ladies to look at him. Or that particular set of phrases and that sequence of phrases. You know, perhaps a lure and a location kind of thing. What I'm saying is that Prosecutor Gavin is being real sus. The defense would like to question Lamorar as the interpreter. Request. Lamorar? But there's a possibility she's protecting the defendant. But she'd be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie? This is most unusual. Bravo, Herr Forehead. Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If Lamorar lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that. Well, if both prosecution and defense are for this, I see little cause for refusal. Finally, some progress. Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lamorar to the witness stand. A very rare double witness on in the core Ace Attorney games. Suppose there is a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with, if you would, Lamorar. He says Maki Tobai, the defendant. This is certainly a first for this courtroom. Not that we really needed an interpretation of that message in particular. So far, so good. Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would. I would what, Your Honor? Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? Would you have him testify about? What do I want him to testify about? I hadn't thought that far yet. That's a very Phoenix Wright move for Apollo here.
Apollo. Aren't you going to ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment, if I might speak. Yes, Lamorar? Just now, Maki said there is something about which he wishes to testify. Maki wants to testify about something? What could it be? What sort of testimony is he talking about? One moment, please. The suspense is killing me. What? What? Well, Lamorar, according to Maki, he has proof of his innocence. What? Still, Maki is wearing what reminds me of either... It's either like a fancy nightgown kind of thing, not like a full nightgown, but that kind of thing, or like Victorian children's clothes. Like he just needs a really big hat. The character, me, is newtmechanist. Newt is the name, mechanist is a title. I believe on Twitter and the YouTube channel you can find little kind of lore snippets. Also archived on the Discord server, but you mentioned previously that you don't have access to that. As a surprise. Victory, Apollo, we did it. This is sounding too good to believe. I know what that usually means. If that's true, then this is vital testimony. Maki, please testify to the court. This moment is a very Phoenix Wright moment, and that's... They were willing to put this person on trial for murder without being able to speak to that person at all. So they have nothing about his side of the events, nothing that he might be able to tell them, nothing at all. They have not had an interpreter available until this very moment. Hey there, Skix. Welcome. Very well. We're playing some Ace Attorney. I'm drinking some beverage. Pet the cat. He says that word of Mr. Latusse's death came as a great shock, but if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, I, that is he, could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. That is... I'd originally speculated something similar, but not this vector here. I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely. I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lamorar to know the meaning of that song. Lamorar, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked. Has my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead? Lamorar might be protecting the witness. Well, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would. Yes, Your Honor. Something's hidden in that testimony, I know it. Just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. His magic bracelet that tells him when somebody might be concealing information, and then you have to detect visual cues. A core gimmick of this iteration of the game. First, we press on every statement that they had made. Were Maki and Mr. Latouche close? Yes, after we traveled around the world on tour together. Lammeror, this is Maki's cross-examination, not yours. But I knew the answer. This is a court of law. We'll play by the book. I understand. When Prosecutor Gavin's tough, he's really tough. Maki says he was very good friends with Mr. Latouche. Mr. Latouche was always a gentle man, never angry. We got along quite well. I never dreamed something like this would happen. The guitar serenade, correct? We'll play by the book, but it's whatever book he chooses. It's just a little scratch pad where the first page says, "Do what I say." Welcome back, Jorn. The crime followed the lyrics of the song. The theft of the keyring, the burning of the guitar, and the bullet. This is why it could not have been me. The cats have scattered to some extent there, Jorn. I could not have done it, you mean? It's very simple. Maki could not have done all the things that happened that day, for all those things followed the song lyrics closely. Wouldn't it be difficult for him to perform without knowing the meaning of the lyrics? Oh, he's just got a piano score to play. He did know what the song was about, its mood, shall we say. This was enough to play by. Welcome back, Ace. I told him it was a song about, a guitar and love. Yeah. It's not actually the guitar that's in love, strictly speaking. Oh, perhaps I misunderstood. This incredibly beautiful song, as far as Gavin is concerned, that, you know, they built together, that was going to be so amazing, and she didn't really understand what it was about. No, not really. Yours is also a valid interpretation. Sky is sitting on my lap. He is getting the pets. Okay. No, it's my fault. I'm too used to singing in Borginian. It is much easier than trying to understand these English lyrics. I knew he was innocent. I believe he is too, Trucy. I do. What's wrong, Apollo? You got a tummy ache or something? Something's hidden in this testimony. It's the truth, I'll find it. Okay. So we're going to go through and see if we see any change in behavior from Maki here. Okay, how about Lammeror here? I generally stream on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, Ace. I start at 4 p.m. U.S. Central. And it's usually 3 hours. Sometimes we might run a little longer, but that's not common. Or at least, it's not something that I would assume will happen in any given stream. Hey there, Sleepy. Simple. Hey there, Khan. Let's see. And just the two. I don't know where the other two have gone to. I know where the fifth is. He is still on my lap. There. Let's see here. I'm gonna repress, and we're gonna. I want to watch her just as much as him. That one is Ember, Ace. Not seeing anything obvious yet. Right now, because the little bracelet is rotating while we're doing this testimony, there is something about the testimony or the behavior of the people that is an indication that they're nervous or something. But I haven't seen any obvious physical behavior from just their testimony here. We're gonna... Oh, we can see his eyes using this. We can see through the sunglasses. Nice touch. Nothing yet. Barbed Wire Trucy is a stage magician. Right there.
Gotcha!
Hockey. Can't fool my eyes. You glanced towards her the very moment Lammeror said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Maki, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? What are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Maki says, I know the word English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. Big Sky here, he's squirming. He learned the name for this language, that's all. Give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but... I'm sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? You always been such a suspicious-minded lad? Sky, like, you know, in the sky. S-K-Y. All of my cats except Ember have their shelter names. Ember is named Ember because I refused to let her keep her Minecraft name that was given to her by elementary school shelter volunteers. It's simple. So simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? The Borginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. They had already begun to report about this case in our homeland. That's right. What's wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. So we should be able to present the document that Gavin made us sign that is the information lockdown about this. Let's check something here. Buttons. Okay. It's working. I think we're getting some frame rate stutter here. Just a moment. Or at least I'm noticing it. Alright. Maki is lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. This evidence proves that you're lying. No. Try again, adhesive. Try again, sucker. Okay. Here. Because I didn't know that was coming. Let's put our save down here. Seems he read about it. That means he's lying. I feel very confident that this should have been it. Ah, here we go. More directly. I have here a Borginian newspaper. The Borginian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Maki? That's right, it doesn't mention the lyrics. What is this all about? I'm sorry, Maki, you couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Borginian newspaper. What does this mean? But I don't see how it's possible. Ah, I know. He must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning. Yeah. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So the lyrics weren't in the newspaper, and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less. The witness will explain himself. Maki says, yes, it is true. I read the newspaper, but this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. The classic pattern, okay, I'm gonna lie a few times and potentially get away with it. And then if their testimony that results after a few lies is really advantageous to the defense, there is a coin flip chance as to whether they'll allow it to stay. If it's advantageous to the prosecution, they can lie as much as they want. If the last thing that sticks, that isn't a lie, is still advantageous to the prosecution, oh, well, then they must be telling the truth now. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What? Apollo's shocked appearance is very goofy compared to Phoenix's. Is this true, Lammeror? Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. Hey there, Logan. Let me see. We are getting some latency on the stream. Anybody else experiencing this? We are getting some buffering going on here. Those are two very conflicting messages there. One of the messages is you're sending too much data, and the other message is you're not sending enough data. We might be clear of it now. Should be clear now. Every now and then there is a hiccup. And it looks like Herr Forehead's been jumping to conclusions again. Seems so, yes. Jumping to conclusions. Pointing out that they said something that they didn't say. Let's see. Ember is toasting her whole chest. Pretty sure that looks like Sherbet looking out the window. I generally don't focus too much on the window cam because they tend to leave there pretty frequently. Let's look close, see if I can at least ID the cat. That looks like Sherbet. Three cats visible at the moment. Ember like embers of a fire, was toasting her chest on the heating pad. Sammy is curled up on the pillow here. He's on to something. I know it. Can't let this chance slip away. Time is an issue today, Mr. Justice. Are you finished with the cross-examination? Judge, your wish to be somewhere other than at the case is really casting your bias into question here. What are you going to do, Apollo? Going to keep on cross-examining. I better have an angle of attack, or else. The bracelet is still reacting. Your Honor, please allow me to continue. You must. Very well. Witness. Understand. Okay, we're going to put down another save. For those unfamiliar with the series, save scumming is a core mechanic. We have high-intensity music, a critical moment kind of music. How much did you explain to Maki? This is a question for me, yes? This interpretation thing is getting old fast. I told him that Mr. Latouche had been killed and why he was a suspect. I told him the crimes of that day followed my song. Did you mention any particular words of the song relating to the case, such as heart? Of course I explained this. He was quite surprised. I knew he was innocent. Yeah, this is a final statement, so we're gonna use the bracelet on the last statement there. The new statement. Oh, no. I hit the wrong button. Gotta go through all of this again. Okay, we don't have a lot of space. The eye thing lets us zoom in and see if they have any sort of, like, physical tick that results when they're telling a lie, essentially. Or omitting something. So, you know, they might tap their finger when they're lying, kind of like a poker tell. Something's different here. So there will be some sort of like change in the animation of the character when the phrase is highlighted in orange. Pretty much just facial expression that we've got for this one. We might run a little bit longer today, Ace. Normally it would be in a few minutes, but I want to at least get this part resolved. I don't want to leave on such an intense cliffhanger here. Check his throat on some of them, too. I think we've had, like, a visible swallow during some of them before. Yep. See, if it was I who explained. Here, you can watch during "It was I who explained." See her swallow. That's what this lets us do, is see those little twitches in their speech. Lammeror, I'm currently cross-examining Maki. Why should you be uncertain? That's he's catching them in a lie, or he's detecting that they're nervous about something. So it could be that they're lying, they're omitting something, they're uncertain of it, that kind of stuff. But then it follows with this, is that he's like, why do you seem nervous about it? And they'll usually almost immediately fold about that question and kind of change their stance. Me? Uncertain? Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. I see there is a little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lammeror, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. And allow me to answer for you. Lammeror, you're protecting... Oh, man. You're protecting Maki. That's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Maki, I believe you didn't do it. Really, I trust you. But you've lied to us twice, and now you have Lamorar lying on your behalf. This is going to work. You have to trust me, too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to. Yep. Is this true? Do you understand English? Yes, a little only. What? First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lamorar? No, I did not. It is quite a surprise. How many secrets is this witness hiding? Last. This is last. Could you tell us what really happened? No shooting. I did no shooting. So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct? Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk. Manager, he on floor. Should be after the shooting, right? Then there is voice. Voice or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Maki went into the dressing room, Mr. Latouche had already been shot. And then we came to the door. Panel high up. I take off, run away. Okay, this makes him look bad because that's how they asserted that he could escape. So this still places him at the scene of the crime, and he uses the escape factor that they claim he did. So it was you who escaped through the air vent. So the door open close sound is the air vent then, I guess. As the prosecution has upheld all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? He clearly denied that he did it. No shooting. Manager on floor. Already on floor. The victim had already been shot, you say. I find it hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He's the shooter. Means he's a suspect. Does the defendant have anything to say to this? He's clammed up, Apollo. Then let's ask Mr. Justice, will you require any further testimony from the witness? I require a save game. I feel like this is a do you want the game to continue question. Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? No, of course there is. What's this cocoon, anyway? The silk is a potent cure. So this is, they wanted to know if he was trying to smuggle the cocoons out of Borginia. So we're going to try to ask him about it. Tell us the truth for your own sake. No more speak, not to any of you. So much for your precious trust, Air Forehead. You're the one who didn't believe him. This brings us to an impasse. It does seem that the defense and the defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything of more of value should this continue. See no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed. Get your act together, defense. Okay. So we'll halt here. That got us past that critical moment there. Catbot indeed, Zeno. Or joining us right at the end. Needed to get to a good stopping point in the case because otherwise Ace Attorney has a habit of running long if you try to get to a completion. But yeah, okay, we're actually to another critical juncture here. We're going to see if we can find out what the real scenario is going on. Well, here's hoping, Zeno. I'm glad you tried to swing by in any event. It was good times. It was good times. I think we're making progress. I feel like they're telegraphing really hard that it's Darian, but why was it Darian is the other question. Did he find out about it or something like that? Jump, huh? I mean, can move a little bit. No jumping. The boots are really heavy. It's contraindicated if you'd like to keep your floors intact. Stompy boots. But yeah, let's see. Tomorrow we're going to be doing some more coding. We're going to continue along with the project. We've still got some bugs around. I cannot move the arms much. They kind of move with the torso, you know. There are some groups that have started to do hand tracking on live 2D stuff. I haven't been too impressed with what I've seen on some of it, but maybe in the future I'll look into it and it'll have gotten better. Or perhaps we'll be, flush with memberships and whatnot and be able to look into things like 3D. Don't hold your breath. But we can dream, In the interim, he said we'll be coding tomorrow. We'll be doing some more For Your Tranquility on Friday, I believe. And then I've got some ideas for Sunday, but I haven't decided quite yet. Saturday will be more coding. But we'll see. We'll see. There is a point where heavy equals traction, barbed wire. This background was made by the same group that made the model. If I pop to the side a little bit there. Yeah, we're running a little bit long. Nice to chat a little bit to close out, Give folks an opportunity to get any comments in that they weren't able to because they were watching or listening or something like that. And just wind down a little bit. I won't go into specific numbers, but good live 2D and backgrounds and whatnot are not exactly cheap. Hey there, Ghost. Joining us right here at the end. Glad you could join us in any event. Hope your day has been going well. Let's see. Yeah, I do think I might be looking to accelerate some of the Ace Attorney streams. Maybe run them a little bit longer, but haven't decided just yet. I have to keep my streams under 6 hours in case anybody tries to pull any YouTube shenanigans, but we'll see. We'll see. In any event, again, thanks everyone for joining us. If you haven't already and you like what you see, remember to like, follow, subscribe, comment, all those good things. They help the algorithm serve you up stuff that you like in the future, and hopefully you'll see more of my streams. And again, I hope you all had a good day today, and I hope to see you next time.